Another one of my many YouTube videos, but this one is directed at you, Amanda. Happy 38th birthday. And I just wanted to add personal touch to it. Just, give you a visual take on your birthday and what it means to me. I'm here at one of my favorite places in the universe. It's the airport. Actually, this is the corporate center right next to the airport, and just beautiful open land. And I think you and Alex are getting into being landowners. There's a lot to be said for that. Of course, you have to consider taxes and all the other expenses that go with it. But this is 100 acres of just, in my opinion, just pure beauty. And I don't know if that's a good shot because I can't look and see when I have the lens turned around. But it's one of my favorite places in the universe. And that's 100 acres there. Wide open spaces, It's just, I really like that. You got a beautiful place where you live in there. 38 years ago right now, things started happening with your mom. And I'm going to copy her on this. I'm going to copy your brothers too. So, because it's really cool and great that all five of us are still around and doing okay. I'm doing okay. I'm not doing great. I'm not doing as good as you, Amanda. You and Alex are hitting it for sure. And so are Martin and Wesley. It's just fantastic because, I see relatives that have offspring that aren't as blessed as we are and as I am. And I'm so blessed. It's amazing. And I remember this day pretty clearly. It's 38 years. I'm not sure I can remember. Well, I do remember what happened last week. But, you get to be my age. Memory is like a fluid thing. Luckily, I haven't been afflicted. I've got some problems, but luckily I haven't been afflicted with memory loss yet. Not yet. Maybe the best is yet to come. Who knows? But anyway, that day, I remember your mother and I walking up and down the sidewalks of Berwyn, and Joan, put any corrections in here that I don't get clear or accurate or right, that as you see fit. But we were walking up and down the sidewalks of Berwyn, and then suddenly your mother had a first significant, not crazy, but definitely something was going on. And the birthing process started in earnest. And I think we were a little overdue, if I'm not mistaken. I think we were maybe 5 or 6 days past the due date. And Joan, if you want to confirm or deny, be my guest. But as you know, Amanda, we told you the story before, but it still resonates with me that, we wanted to do a natural childbirth in the birthing center, and we had a midwife all assigned, and we're ready to go, babe. And we go in there, and your mother water breaks, and there's meconium staining, and that means that the fetus is in trouble. Because that comes from the fetus. The fetus can poop in the uterus because it's in distress, and that's a clear sign of distress. So we immediately went from the natural childbirth plan to the hospital. And we get over there, and I wasn't crazy about the delivery doctor. I guess these guys, people that have been in their careers a long time, they can get this like veneer maybe, or this kind of like almost like a ambivalent approach to what they do. And he was in and out checking on your mother. But when it was determined that you had a true knot in your umbilical cord, he wasn't in the room when that happened. And he didn't even bring that up as a possibility. The midwife really was more involved than the doctor was. So, and your grandmother she wasn't there for the delivery. She didn't actually witness the delivery, I don't think. But your grandmother came in right after you were delivered into the delivery room. And there's a picture of her holding you, pretty sure. And your mother was like, wow. I know I wouldn't want to go through that. I'm glad, women in general can handle it, but boy, it looks very difficult. And then they gave you, okay, so the true knot, And then without consulting me or your mother, they gave you a plasma push. Well, at that time, AIDS was wreaking havoc on newborn because they weren't screening the blood supplies for the AIDS virus. And so a lot of these little kids are born healthy and they get a plasma push and it's contaminated with AIDS and it's very, very bad. So, we dodged that bullet too. And and I asked them when they were doing it, I said, what are you doing? They said, well, since she was under distress and it was, and she seems a little bit anemic. You had bilirubin, we found out that the next couple of days. You were in intensive care for 3 days at Bryn Mawr Hospital. Intensive care, ICU. And they were monitoring your breathing. And what really frustrated me was whenever I wanted to be involved, they kept on pushing me away. Excuse me, what are you pushing me away for? I'm just here. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not being a problem. But it's a problem if you don't tell me what's going on. And they wouldn't. I asked so your heart rate, as the umbilical cord got tighter as the delivery progressed, and the knot got tighter, well then all the nutrition and the oxygen which you need to survive coming through the umbilical cord was being cut off. And so when you finally made it out, thank you to that midwife, whatever her name was, I can't remember what her name was, but she worked with your mother. And she really was, I think, was responsible for getting you delivered in a timely fashion, because the longer it would take to get you out, the worse it would be. And you know what? And I'm sorry to go on about this, honey, but it's a fascinating subject. A true knot in your umbilical cord, that should have been revealed in an ultrasound. They can definitely detect that today. I'm sure of that, because they're looking at my heart and they're telling me my heart, the little valve in my heart isn't opening, and just taking a picture. They're not actually opening me up and looking at me. They're taking a picture and they're saying, Jerry, you got a problem with your valve. And I feel the effects of it too. But what I'm saying is, with a true knot, and Joan, I'd love to hear your commentary on this, is that they really should have done a C-sec instead of taking the risk of that umbilical cord choking off all the oxygen and then causing you to be stillborn. So anyway, that's my take on that. But, I think all the angels in heaven and everything, they were there with us that day. And as you know, I had a run-in with the hospital, and it just kills me. And they don't do that anymore. If the father wants to know what's going on, you really keep him informed. Because really what you do there is you set yourself up for a bad disciplinary action later, because, well, why not? Why would you be hiding any of this? Doesn't make any sense, So anyway, you made it, as you know. And the first 3 weeks were really hard on both your mother and me. And your mother, well, I know she had really bad cramps in her legs. Now, I'm having a cramp problem now too, and it's terrible. It just freezes you. Very painful, and it creates a sense of panic. So your mother went through that. I think after the delivery, though, the cramps went away. But she would be getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning. This is your pregnancy, right? 2 o'clock in the morning, and crying and running to the bathroom, turning on the hot water and putting her legs under the hot water to try to relieve the cramping. So it was a fantastic, wonderful experience, because everybody came out healthy, and that doesn't always happen that way. And I'm very grateful. I say prayers of gratitude all the time for all 3 of my children being healthy, living quasi-normal lives, somewhat normal lives, but living the life that you want to live. All 3 of you had the choice to live the lives that you wanted to live, and Amanda, your choices are really panning out for you, and I'm thrilled that that's happening for you. And I'm thrilled to have you as a daughter, and I'm thrilled to have my other 2 children in good health, and I'm thrilled that their mother is still doing okay, relatively speaking, doing well. But your mother really, she had a lot of, I guess that's something that guys can't always relate to, is what the feelings are of a mother and what a mother goes through, and how that relates. My mother, we're going to talk about that. But happy birthday, honey, and I hope you have a good time today. I hope you're taking the day off. I mean, that was a thing with me. I worked on so many of my birthdays that after I was not a photographer anymore, I didn't work on my birthday anymore. I made it a policy. So I hope you're not doing anything too strenuous today and reflecting on amazing blessings that have been with us and with you. And I hope with all my heart these blessings continue to be with you, Alex, Finn and Reese and Shadow and Alex's family and all of us. Peace and love for as long as I can offer those things. I love you, honey.